If I had to pick a favorite game based solely on its animation, I would without a doubt pick Cuphead. Studio MDHR created a perfect replica of early 1900s animation, and it's truly admirable. But what about the gameplay? Well, it's also incredible. It has such a perfect mix of luck and trial and error to where beating any level feels incredibly rewarding because of the struggles it took to best the challenge. And something even better is the amount of customizability the game has to offer. Throughout your boss rush adventure, you'll come across a wide variety of abilities that will aid you in battle. But that begs the question, what's the best loadout? Well, as somebody who has S-ranked every boss, P-ranked every running gun, completed every achievement, and unlocked every visual and audio filter, I think I can say that I have enough experience to rank every weapon, charm, and super art the game has to offer. See, even Mugman knows this won't be easy. And one more thing before we begin. I'll be going over every ability in Cuphead Don't Deal with the Devil and Cuphead in the Delicious Last Course. Just being clear about that now. Anyway, let's start with the weapons. These are the Cup's main way of dealing damage, and there are 9 of them. Not to mention, each one has its own EX shot. Coming in dead last, we've got Charge. Let me just say that none of the weapons in this game are bad, but I do find myself using Charge much less than any other weapon. It deals a great amount of damage, but it's the only weapon without rapid fire, meaning precision is key. I'm just not too keen on having to shoot manually. As for its EX shot, Radial Barrage, you have to get close to your target to use it. It's good, but not for playing keep away. Twist Up is the most useless rapid-fire weapon because of its awkward shooting pattern, and although that's what it's supposed to do, it doesn't really help with most bosses. On the other hand, its EX shot, Cyclone Spiral, is great. I mean, look at that! It's just dragged down too far by its normal shot. Chaser feels like it would be one of the first things you'd buy because of how easy it makes things. And trust me, I would know what that feels like. But in reality, it does below average damage, and you can't even control what you're aiming at. It's just based on proximity. Plus, the EX shot, Chaos Orbit, is terrible for bosses. It creates a bullet shield around you that damages whatever touches it. This requires you to be even closer to an enemy than with Radial Barrage. Ah, pea shooter. It's the basic weapon, and it does a great job of being that. Look at it go. It's nothing astounding, but it gets the job done. And its EX shot, Mega Blast, is pretty good. You just shoot a giant bullet. It kinda hurts to put lava here. I like it a lot. I mean, you just shoot blue bouncy balls from your fingertip, and it's great fun. However, despite its good damage, they only bounce so high and so far. But at least its EX shot has a great name. It's called Kablooey. And just like with Pea Shooter, it makes you shoot out a giant version of the normal shot. Spread is a close-range weapon that deals a great amount of damage, and that gets it to the number 4 spot. And sure, staying close to your target at all times may be hard, but if you can, you'll blow through them. The EX shot is called 8-Way, and it has you shoot giant bullets in all 8 directions. It's really cool. Converge is just Pea Shooter, but better in every way. It shoots 3 bullets at once, and holding the lock button narrows the range of your firing. It's good for hitting several things at once, as the bullets have an infinite range. The EX shot is called Electro Bolt, and it creates a giant beam of energy that stretches from you to the edge of the screen. Crackshot is a weapon that combines the shots of Spread and Chaser, and it results in giving you the ability to do high close-range damage or low long-range damage. It can be used very well, but you could also just equip Spread and Chaser if you want to get the best of both worlds. Still, it's a great weapon, and its EX P-Turret creates a little planet thing that can fire at enemies, and parrying it will result in the turret flying straight into one. Roundabout lets you shoot in 2 directions at once, allowing you to hit almost anything you want. Well, for the most part. It's the best weapon in my opinion, as it lets you hit stuff even when you're facing the wrong direction. I mean, look at this. This is some top-notch weaponry right here. And I'm just noticing now that I forgot to talk about Jumbo Rebound in the script. Yeah, that's its EX shot, and it's good, but not the best. It floats around the screen going back and forth, and if it bumps into you, it goes away. But other than that, it's still a pretty good EX shot. Now, for one more thing, I'm gonna rank the airplane weapons as well. They still count, but it wouldn't be fair to put them in the same list as the weapons you use when on foot. Miss Chalice's mini-bomb isn't bad. In fact, it has a much faster fire rate than Cuphead and Mugman's mini-bomb. However, it does less damage and is less precise, meaning some of the bombs won't even hit anything. Its EX shot is subpar as well, because it creates a giant version of the normal mini-bomb, and you have to properly position yourself if you want it to deal good damage. The mini-bombs may have a slow fire rate, but they deal good damage. Sure, the slow fire rate means you need to be precise with your positioning, but that isn't usually an issue. The EX shot, on the other hand, launches a bunch of seek and destroy magnets that require no aiming at all. Miss Chalice's pea shooter is good for hitting multiple things at once, but using it also usually ends up in the boss taking less damage. It also has a slower fire rate than the Cup's pea shooter, which makes it even worse. It's not bad, but it's not the best either. As for its EX shot, it's alright, but it's just a worse version of the EX shot for the mini-bomb. If you wanted to use the pea shooter in an airplane level, I'd much rather suggest using... The pea shooter is the best airplane weapon. It allows for you to fire in a straight line, it does good damage, and its EX shot does the same thing, albeit with one large bullet instead of multiple small ones. It works wonders for any airplane boss, and I highly recommend it. Now that we have the weapons out of the way, let's move on to the super arts. These are special moves you learn throughout the game, and they can only be used if your super meter is full. There are 6 in total, 3 for the cups and 3 for the chalice. But which one is best? Well, let's see. Giant Ghost is fine, but it can often lead you to get hit when trying to hit others. The ghost moves in whatever direction you're facing, and although you don't have to move around when using it if you use the lock button, it will still leave you vulnerable. And sure, you can parry the heart it leaves behind to get one of your cards back, but it's still pretty lackluster compared to the others on this list, even if it does the most damage and lets you shoot while using it. Invincibility is good, but that's it. Just good. You become invulnerable, but it doesn't even last for 5 seconds. It's good if you're in a pinch, but you've got to use it really sparingly because of how long it takes to fill your super meter. Spiral Pillar is Miss Chalice's worst super art. It goes vertically, and although that works well in some fights, you typically have to carefully position yourself to use it. It's not bad, but it's like the twist up of super arts. Ghostly Barrage is a good full-screen nuke that does good damage and gives you a card back if you parry the spear it leaves behind. And although that may sound similar to the Giant Ghost, it doesn't require you to move around or risk taking damage. It's just better. Although I don't use it much, Shield Pal is probably Miss Chalice's best super art. You still have to use it sparingly, but unlike with invincibility, you get what is essentially an extra hit point compared to a few seconds of invulnerability. If you want a good grade, this is a good option. Energy Beam is simple, packs a punch, and most importantly, shoots horizontally. You can hit almost anything with it, making it the best super art. And something I didn't mention is that with the exception of Giant Ghost, all super arts give you at least a couple seconds worth of invincibility, so that's cool too. And as for the airplane super arts, Cuphead and Mugman's Bomb Morph is better than Miss Chalice's Missile Morph. It allows you to roam around the screen for a bit, which lets you position yourself properly. Finally, let's discuss the charms. There are 9 of them to buy from Porkrind, and they each have a different effect on you in battle. The Cursed Relic is the only charm in the game that harms you. With it equipped, you start levels with 1 HP, your shot changes every time you stop shooting, you get a worse version of the Coffee Charm, and you get the effects of Smoke Bomb, Whetstone, and Heart Ring, but only every so often. It sucks, but defeating bosses slowly gives you the effects more often, and defeating enough will give you another charm that I'll get to later. Of course, the second worst charm in the game is the one that does literally nothing, and for that reason, I don't have much to say about the Broken Relic. It is, by definition, useless. Pea Sugar is next, and it's only borderline useless. I only see 3 situations in which I would use it. For rolling the die with King Dice, for parrying with Hocus Pocus, and maybe for defeating the challengers in the King's Leap. That's really it. You can use it if you suck at parrying, but even then you still won't need it much. The Twin Heart is only something you would need if you're just that bad at Cuphead. It weakens your attack power by 10%, which means you should only use this thing as a last resort. All you have to do is practice, then the Twin Heart will quickly become a thing of the past. The heart is a bit better. It gives you an extra hit point in exchange for a 5% decrease in your damage output, and it's more reasonable than the twin heart because needing 1 more HP to get through a level seems fair. It's a good trade-off if you're struggling. Whetstone lets you damage by parrying, and although that works well quite a lot, it may also cause you to parry into something that hurts you. It's great for small enemies or bosses that don't move too much, which puts it here on the list. Coffee automatically fills your super meter in addition to what you earn, which can make you a total powerhouse if you know what you're doing. It allows for you to activate more EX shots and super arts, and it's a good charm for the number 5 spot. The Astral Cookie lets you play as Miss Chalice, which gives you access to her special moveset. You may not be able to use a charm with her, but you do have 4 HP, a dash parry, a double jump, and an invincibility roll. But with all of that, why wouldn't the Astral Cookie be at number 1? Well, it's because jumping twice and parrying horizontally can be just as much of a burden as it is a help. That's why she has the health boost and the invincibility roll. They help balance her out. The parry ring is great. I mean, who would say no to free HP? Well, okay, not free, but it may as well be. This thing works wonders for anyone who needs extra health, and it doesn't take away from your damage output. The smoke bomb feels kinda overpowered. Being able to dash past anything without taking damage is great, and it can be a lifesaver in many situations. It's the best charm in the base game, and I highly recommend it to be the first charm you buy. The most obvious choice for the best charm is, without a doubt, the Divine Relic. Sure, your shot still changes every time you start shooting, but you get used to it after a while. And trust me, I've had plenty of time to get used to it because of how great its other effects are. Having the abilities of Smoke Bomb, Heart Ring, Whetstone, and a better version of Coffee make this thing incredible, not to mention the cool glow it gives you. Even if it's locked behind beating a bunch of bosses with the Cursed Relic, the reward is still worth it. And if you don't want to count the other forms of the Broken Relic, just remove first and last place and there you go. So, here you have it. This is the best loadout in Cuphead. And if you don't have the DLC, then this is the best loadout. I hope you enjoyed watching, and that's all I have to say. My personal favorite shots are Roundabout and Lobber. They make a great combo. Anyway, how are you enjoying your pizza? It's one of my favorite pizzas, and I'd like to know if you found all of the ingredients. Anyway, I hope this list is at least a bit useful to you guys, and I'm gonna go now. Brush your teeth. You know, I wonder how many times I've perished. Oh my god! Well, that number's only gonna get higher.